Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Letecia, and today we're going to dive back into the Gannon Stauch case. I do have about 7 hours or more worth of content on a playlist for you on this case. We have done a deep dive on this case before. We've read through the probable cause affidavit before. So please do check that out. It is linked in the description box for you. Let's get started. Before we dive into the story today, let me just tell you that Letecia Stauch's trial is finally going to be happening. It's set to start on March 20th, 2023. So depending on when you're watching this, it's about to come up. Now, what Letecia Stauch has been charged with is murder in the first degree for a child under 12, position of trust, first degree murder, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased body, tampering with physical evidence, crime of violence, 8 counts, and attempted escape. It was on March 11th, 2020 that Stauch faced the El Paso County Judge, Gregory Vanner, for the first time and was advised of the charges against her. Now, since Letecia has been in jail, she has been delaying the trial for as long as possible, making sure that her mental health, her mental competency is reviewed over and over again. On Thursday, March 9th, 2023, the 4th Judicial District Attorney, Michael Allen, said that despite not having the final sanity report from a defense expert, the prosecution still wants to move forward with the trial, which is set to start on March 20th. The trial will be televised, and they say it could last months, and it's approximated that it would last about 6 weeks. As you know, on my channel, I don't generally stream trials, but I will be watching the trial and I will be providing summaries along the way. So if that's something that you want to follow along with, make sure that you are subscribed and hit the bell so that you don't miss out. And lastly, before we dive into the story, in case you've never heard of this case before, Judge Vanner ordered the submission of the final sanity report to the court by Thursday, March 16th at 5 p.m. He said, "It's not a suggestion, it's not a guideline, it is not a hope, it is a deadline." So now let's get into the backstory so that you know what happened to 12-year-old Gannon Stauch, what is the evidence against Letecia Stauch, and what type of step monster are we dealing with. As we know, Letecia is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But once we get into the story, you'll see that there's a lot of evidence against her. So good luck to the defense team. Gannon Stauch was born on September 29th, 2008 in Loris, South Carolina, USA, to Albert, who's known as L. Stauch, and Landon Hyatt. He had one little sister, Lena Hyatt. He loved Taco Tuesdays, playing Nintendo, Sonic, and making lots of jokes. He was a playful kid who had lots of friends in the neighborhood that he biked with or played video games with. His mom and dad got divorced. His dad then married Letecia, and Gannon moved to Colorado in 2018 to live with his dad and stepmother for a while. His mother, sister, and grandparents stayed in South Carolina. On January 27th, 2020, 11-year-old Gannon went missing, where he was last seen on a neighbor's camera entering his home in the Lorson Ranch neighborhood with his 38-year-old stepmother, Letecia Stauch. She was a former assistant teacher whose license was suspended in 2016 for unprofessional conduct. So her behavior, her manipulation, and her lies go way back. The evening before, which was a Sunday, Letecia had actually messaged Gannon's teacher to say that he would need to be excused from school because he'd been up most of the night with stomach pain. She also sent a text to her husband to say that she was going to give her work an excuse and just stay with Gannon for the day. Do you know what she told her work? She said that her stepdad was killed after being hit by a car and that she would not be able to come into work that day. So, that escalated really quickly with just an ordinary booking off from work day. The problem is that what she did, or what she's accused of doing, is far worse than that excuse to not go to work. There's a lot of premeditation that I'm picking up on in this case. Let me know if you feel the same. At approximately 8:15 on the morning of the 27th, Letecia took photographs of Gannon sleeping in his bed with his Nintendo Switch next to him. The next day, she Googled, "Can Nintendo find my Switch?" And that Switch was never found. She claimed that Gannon had not returned home after going to play video games with a friend, and she called 911 about it on the same day, where he was then logged as a juvenile runaway. She said that he left home between 3:15 and 4 p.m. to walk to a friend's house in Colorado Springs, even though she was never able to name that friend and couldn't even name in which direction to look for him. Now, on the same day that Gannon went missing, Letecia had texted her teenage daughter and asked her to go to the shop to pick up a few items for her. I'm sure we've all seen a shopping list like this in true crime cases, but can you guess what she asked her to buy? Baking soda, trash bags, and carpet cleaner. And I believe she also asked her to pick up some vinegar. She then used Gannon's phone to text her own daughter, Harley, at 10:37 that morning. And the text said, "Tisha left phone at home. If you need her, text me." Now here's where Letecia's behavior gets really interesting. The morning after Gannon's disappearance, Letecia drove her car to the Colorado Springs airport and left it there. She then rented a car, a Kia Rio, picked up her husband, who had been out of town for 2 days for military training in Oklahoma. He was on the National Guard, and returned home with him in the rented car. That night, she slipped out and went to get her own car, a Volkswagen Tiguan, where she drove to an area near Colorado 105 and South Perry Park Road in Douglas County. And this is where police believe that she initially dumped Gannon's body. Her phone was also put in airplane mode for most of the night, which investigators found unusual. In fact, they said normally someone like her would be helping in the search for Gannon. She did not help in the search for Gannon, instead renting cars, driving around, putting her phone in flight mode, and doing all sorts of strange things. Her Tiguan, however, was fitted with a tracking device, which showed her whole adventure. It included a trip to Starbucks, a gas station, and lots of loops and turns in isolated areas. That night, she also logged into the Wi-Fi from a massage parlor parking lot and started searching for Amber Alerts in the area. She also then checked her own Ring doorbell camera videos and then put her phone back in airplane mode all the way up to January 29th. Now, on January 29th, Letecia changed her whole story, telling police in an interview that she was 2 hours late for, that a man called Eduardo had entered the home and, trigger warning, vaginally penetrated her without consent before taking a suitcase and Gannon with him. She could not explain why this perpetrator let her go and greet her daughter when she came home, nor what exactly had happened. She claimed to have hit her head and blacked out and can't remember anything, but she does remember his business card slipping out of his pocket, which is how she knows his name. She saw that business card on the floor and I know, they had said Eduardo. On January 30th, Gannon's disappearance became more concerning, and he was immediately classified as an endangered missing person. The FBI, the Colorado Springs Police Department, El Paso Search and Rescue Teams, and more than 300 volunteers joined forces to search for Gannon in the mountainous area, also searching the reservoir for any signs of him. Gannon was a 5th grade student at the Grand Mountain School, and when his teachers and peers heard of his disappearance, they wore blue in his honor as people searched for him, with some homes even changing their light bulbs to blue light bulbs to help Gannon find his way home. A church vigil was held for Gannon, and the community prayed for his safe return. They searched for weeks, never giving up hope on finding him, as grim as the picture was starting to look. On February the 3rd, Letecia took to social media to have a rant about all these fingers being pointed at her.
I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse. So they could the message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
So looking at her interviews in hindsight is very interesting, as most of us in true crime do like to do that, to look at the interviews like Chris Watts on the porch and Letecia Stauch with her back to the camera saying all these things and saying that everybody will sincerely be apologizing to her. On February the 4th, a neighbor, Roderick Drayton, came forward with video footage from his surveillance camera that showed Letecia leaving in a red pickup truck with Gannon. That was on January 27th at 10:13 a.m. and then returning home with him at 2:19 p.m. He said that Gannon was walking slowly towards the truck as if he was dragging his feet to go along with her. When Gannon's father was shown the footage, he broke down completely and realized that Letecia had lied about everything. A wooden plank or board was found in the area where police believed Gannon had initially been dumped, which had his blood on it. Investigators had also placed a tracking device on a rental car that Letecia's aunt, Brenda Acard, had hired, and it showed that it drove an almost identical path to the one that Letecia drove on the night that she drove around. They were able to confirm that Letecia used this rental car between January 30th and February 1st. On February 1st, Letecia decided that a really great idea would be to go on a road trip with her teenage daughter Harley. So she rented a white van and drove from Colorado to Pensacola, arriving on February 4th just after midnight. They checked into a hotel, which later turned out to be a whole 3 miles from the spot where Gannon's body was found. They traveled to Orlando and then South Carolina, where Gannon was initially from. So I don't know who Letecia was trying to frame there. On February the 5th, Gannon's father and biological mother gave a media appearance to plea for any information about their missing son. His younger sister, Lena, was also on camera.
Gannon he loves blue, he loves Sonic, he's into coding, he loves riding his bicycle with his sister, and I know that he's missing that right now. He holds his job as being Big Bubba very important, and for him not to be able to talk to his sisters has to be hurting him.
When Gannon was born, he weighed only 1 pound and 6 ounces, and even today he's still our miracle child. He still is, and he's such a happy child, and he just brings life to every party. His smile, even today, is keeping us going. His infectious smile brings me joy every time I think about it.
On March the 3rd, 2020, Letecia Stauch was arrested and held without bond in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where she had been hiding out, before she was transferred to Colorado Springs. There was no sign of Gannon, but police had sadly discovered so much evidence that showed that a violent event occurred in his bedroom on January 27, 2020, that they were able to charge Letecia Stauch with first-degree murder. Police believe that Letecia murdered Gannon in his bedroom. They found blood spatter on the walls, with blood stains on his carpet, bedroom floor, mattress, and the concrete. So the blood had seeped through the carpet onto the concrete floor below. That's how severe his injuries were. They also found traces of Gannon's blood in the garage, and on the bumper of Letecia's car, which of course she tried to explain away, almost like Chandler Halderson when he tried to explain all the blood in the house because he had dismembered his parents. He said that he had cut his foot on something, on glass, right from the fireplace. Similarly here, Letecia said that Gannon had hurt his foot in the garage and that was the reason for the blood there. On March the 20th, 2020, Gannon's body was found in a suitcase in Pace, Florida, near the Escambia River Bridge, which is 1,400 miles or 2,200 kilometers away from home. He was 4'9" and weighed 90 pounds. The suitcase, which had appeared to have been thrown off a bridge, was discovered by bridge inspectors with the Florida Department of Transportation. They saw the body of a child wrapped in a blanket in fetal position and said that the body had badly decomposed. Sadly, DNA evidence confirmed that it was the body of Gannon Stauch.
We met with the family earlier today, and obviously they're distraught with this information. They were still holding out hope that Gannon would come home alive despite the original charges that we filed in this case. And they're struggling, and they rightfully would be, considering the circumstance of this case. It's tragic, and we, like I said at the beginning, our hearts go out to them.
A detective had later revealed that Gannon had been shot in the jaw and stabbed 18 times. He also had a skull fracture and cuts on his arms and hands, which were defense wounds. A bullet was found in his skull, and 2 bullets were found in a pillow that was also stuffed in the suitcase, which matched the 9mm gun that was found in the Stauch home with Letecia's DNA on it. On the day that Gannon disappeared, police said that the back door of the home opened 10 times during the time period that they confirmed Gannon was murdered. Letecia also had quite the Google search history, which we have gone over before, so check out the playlist and those videos that I've made for you. It seemed like from her Google searches, she had some resentment towards Al, her husband, and wanted to free herself from his kids. Investigators noted that Letecia has a history of fabricating things. Now, in jail, it's been reported that Letecia is writing letters and befriending inmates. And in these letters, she is also bartering with her commissary items, saying that she's going to escape. She's come up with a plan to use a broom handle to break a window where she thinks she's going to get out. And she's even written a letter, which seems to have never gotten to her daughter, where she said that if it's reported that she's escaped from the jail, that Harley, her daughter, must just act normal and stay focused. Now that was just a recap of the case. If you are interested in my typed up timeline and script, that will be provided on Patreon. And if you are interested in a redo of a read-through of that probable cause affidavit and some of the letters that Letecia Stauch wrote, I will be having a members-only stream very soon. Usually the member streams are quite long because we go through everything, every page, and sometimes we even get a little snarky about some of the information because some of it is so ridiculous. So if you are interested in that, check that out. But if you can't or don't want to, don't worry, because I oftentimes will make highlight episodes so that you don't miss out on the important details. But as I say, we've gone through that document fully before, and there's more than 7 hours worth of content on my playlist for you. So go and check that out, and then you can see it all there. We have also previously gone over the video footage as well as recordings of Gannon's voice, which was very, very sad to hear as well, just how Letecia was treating him and what she was saying. So check out the episodes that I've done previously if you do want to hear that to refresh yourself. Letecia Stauch is currently held at the El Paso County Jail, and jury selection is set to begin on March 20th, 2023. If you could put some blue hearts in the chat or in the comments for Gannon Stauch, that would be lovely. And sending so much love and support to Gannon Stauch's mom, dad, sister, family, and friends. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.